case reported by psychologist Bruno Klopfer. Klopfer was treating a man named Wright who had advanced cancer of the lymph nodes. All standard treatments had been exhausted, and Wright appeared to have little time left. His neck, armpits, chest, abdomen, and groin were filled with tumors the size of oranges, and his spleen and liver were so enlarged that 2 quarts of milky fluid had to be drained out of his chest every day. But Wright did not want to die. He had heard about an exciting new drug called crebiosen, and he begged his doctor to let him try it. At first, his doctor refused because the drug was only being tried on people with a life expectancy of at least 3 months. But Wright was so unrelenting in his entreaties, his doctor finally gave in. He gave Wright an injection of crebiosen on Friday, but in his heart of hearts, he did not expect Wright to last the weekend. Then, the doctor went home. To his surprise, on the following Monday, he found Wright out of bed and walking around. Klopfer reported that his tumors had melted like snowballs on a hot stove and were half their original size. This was a far more rapid decrease in size than even the strongest X-ray treatments could have accomplished. 10 days after Wright's first crebiosen treatment, he left the hospital and was, as far as his doctors could tell, cancer-free. When he had entered the hospital, he had needed an oxygen mask to breathe, but when he left, he was well enough to fly his own plane at 12,000 feet with no discomfort. Wright remained well for about 2 months, but then articles began to appear asserting that crebiosen actually had no effect on cancer of the lymph nodes. Wright, who was rigidly logical and scientific in his thinking, became very depressed, suffered a relapse, and was readmitted to the hospital. This time, his physician decided to try an experiment. He told Wright that crebiosen was every bit as effective as it had seemed, but that some of the initial supplies of the drug had deteriorated during shipping. He explained, however, that he had a new, highly concentrated version of the drug and could treat Wright with this. Of course, the physician did not have a new version of the drug and intended to inject Wright with plain water. To create the proper atmosphere, he even went through an elaborate procedure before injecting Wright with the placebo. Again, the results were dramatic. Tumor masses melted, chest fluid vanished, and Wright was quickly back on his feet and feeling great. He remained symptom-free for another 2 months, but then the American Medical Association announced that a nationwide study of crebiosen had found the drug worthless in the treatment of cancer. This time, Wright's faith was completely shattered. His cancer blossomed anew, and he died 2 days later. Wright's story is tragic, but it contains a powerful message. When we are fortunate enough to bypass our disbelief and tap the healing forces within us, we can cause tumors to melt away overnight.